We're pretty even with them for majority of these games. Sure, they were behind in goal, but if you look around on the map, they were doing a stellar job with Xiaohu taking those side lanes, so they kept being close to even in terms of gold. Now, what's your first pick right here? Ashe. It's gonna make its way through. Could be AD carry, could be support, it could be paired up with 8 literally million of AD carries as well.
I like to see an IP on blue side this time around. See that swap up there, but the Camille will be an ever-present ban against Breathe, it feels like. The Varus is hovered right now for light, would give still that big versatility to the pick itself in terms of what build you can go, but also we saw earlier in the first series of the day how strong this pick can be. We'll already have a piece to our bot lane matchup.
Yeah, Varus seems like more prominent AD carry right now that doesn't necessarily get banned very often. Of course, Fearless could very easily change that regard of the Varus not being banned out. Let's see if here they're gonna show up what they want to take in terms of their jungle probably, or their mid lane even. Two of which they let out until very late in the drafts. In game number 1 is going to be the Rex, and again, this could be flexed towards top lane, but more recently, we have been seeing a favor towards the jungle.
I have been a little curious. Some of the giggling over there from Xiaohu as we locked it in. And where that one's going to go, there is going to be some of that flexibility for them. I think that is one of the strengths we also saw from NIP that last split, was the flexibility they had in some of the early picks in their draft. There is the instant double lock-in for NIP. It's the Callista paired up with the Ashe, and then the Cassante, or should I say, Shanji.
Shanji is back. I'll be surprised even if I saw a Bleach card here coming through. We saw it in the previous series as well, when you do have 2 squishy targets towards the both side of the map. Something like a Bleach run could be actually huge. Ashe, extremely immobile on this lane as well. No Kalista as well, that's very short range. They're gonna choose to go with another split push threat on Xiaohu. This time around is going to be the look.
Was banned out last game against them, knowing that that can be a big threat that Xiaohu brings to the table. Still love to see the flexibility of the draft that Weibo are bringing. I still think they need some stability with their engage tools specifically. Maybe they just opt into more split pushing pressure. We get in the second phase of bans, and it is the Corki ban away against NIP.
Now, I was doing a little bit of a digging for ERLs. Now, finally, in Season 7, Rek'Sai will see more than 1,000 times, I think, paired up with the likes of Syndra back then. They were a very potent duo versus the likes of LeBlanc and Lee Sin. And I'm assuming this is what's going to be here for Tarzan. It's going to be the Rek'Sai in the jungle to facilitate for the LeBlanc as well. However, I'm looking to see what does Rookie have to play into that LeBlanc. The Tristan, of course, has been banned out together with the Porky. I'm not the biggest fan of Porky. I think for Rookie, somebody who wants to shove and play into fog of war, it's not one of the best champions to do this with. We have seen it in action. I wouldn't mind, honestly, seeing that Talia over again. Oh, we can't. Sorry, guys. Fearless. I'll adapt to it as well. Never mind.
I was giving it a second.
Surprise.
I was going to help you out and say, but you got it. Hey, let's go. The Poppy, though, a specific fan towards Aki. I think we saw some revelations of that from last split, but also it's one of Tarzan's go-to premier manipulative picks in the jungle. I like that Zac ban already, telling that engage power from Weibo, and especially the length of engage. Gone. The Kennen taken away, though.
Wow. I'm actually very surprised we've seen these bans, especially since Breathe has come back. I'm wondering now if they're going to fall back to something like a Renekton potentially toward the top set of the map. Pairs up quite well with the Rek'Sai as well in terms of point CC and Rek'Sai ganking that lane. Pretty okay into Cassante too.
See what kind of front line they want to go with. It will be Crisp's Leona. They get a big solar flare, but also some follow-up CC there themselves. We've seen Leona rise through priority here, at least early in these 2 first series that we have. And see if some maybe tried and true stock standard stuff comes out from NIP, or if we are going to get like the Aurelion Souls, things like that to round out their comp.
I'm not gonna lie, I wouldn't mind seeing something like the Orianna Sejuani or something like an Orianna Jarvan, extremely immobile AD carry in the likes of a Varus. Once the ball sticks, it sticks. That also does the job.
Okay.
The Wukong in the jungle pretty much acts as a J4 to deliver the goal for Oriana.
This is something you talked about in game number 1, something that should have stayed in the ban pool, but Breathe Jax will be unleashed onto the map.
You know, I'm gonna give you a fun fact right here about Breathe. A couple of years ago, I wasn't very familiar with the LPL at all. And the fun fact is, I had a pretty big cast that was coming up. I think it might have been like Pyjamas finals or something. So I posted in my timeline, breathe. As in, like, I'm trying to breathe, like, to get my anxiety out, right? And every single LPL caster commented underneath, he's like, yay, isn't he insane?
I was there, I remember that.
Do you remember? And I was like, wait, what's going on? And apparently he had just a monstrous performance that morning, and it was like the craziest thing ever. And I will forever remember Breed's name because of that.
It's been a lot of fun to watch his growth over in RNG, but maybe some of the lack of growth over the last little bit here on a new team, reunited with Xiaohu. We'll be seeing what he can do over this split here. He was that top player that was involved with the bin trade with BLG so long ago. But as we get into game number 2, it's again wondering what some of these picks can do, what this jungle matchup will particularly look like. We saw a very one-sided game for a majority of it in game number 1. It was all NIP favored until it wasn't. Weibo snatched that win out from under them. Now hopefully NIP have learned to double tap their opponent in Weibo Gaming tap. As we get into it though, we'll see if we can be pushed to double game 3s on our first day of summer. Fearless is a hell of a lot of fun. And we're already seeing some of those things play out here. Weibo Gaming versus the Ninjas in Pyjamas, game number 2, starting now. We continue the level 1s. I love to see it. As the Gyos go out, we have to think about the setup that these level 1s give, because I feel like in that first series we had, there was a lot gained by the early vision there. And when NIP were able to play through the lane swaps and things that last game, it was very interesting how they controlled the map trouble.
If I was Tarzan, Mazel, I'm not gonna lie to you, I would take this personally. Twice in a row right now. You see the early invades trying to dictate where Tarzan starts, putting down vision from the side of NIP. And this is the correct play, right? We said, hey, this man in the jungle, he's a monster. He's got Rek'Sai. He can gank early on if he so wishes, you know. Pretty good pair with the LeBlanc. If you get one chain onto Rookie, who's playing a very mobile target, a Rek'Sai follow-up is very, very potent. So making sure you track down that Rek'Sai, you track down Tarzan the entire time has been the name of the game for NIP. And in game number 1, they did this flawlessly.
And Weibo, yet again, gonna go with the lane swap. It was them that initiated it last time. Here they go yet again. Shanji unleashed. I think I do want to bring a little bit more focus to that top side as well. I know we probably won't see anything from them except for some of these fun trades early on, but both guys getting their comfort champions here in the Jax for Breathe and Shanji's K'Sante. He's going. Does he know it's a 1v2 here? I mean, maybe he does because he's just K'Sante and can do that.
He has Zhuo behind him, and Tarzan is pretty low on HP, so it doesn't matter that he's level 2 onto the Rek'Sai. They can actually bully him with range from the Ash.
Ooh, Xiaohu. Xiaohu has an angle. Okay, he's not going to commit there. The Ghost did get popped. Zhuo there as well. They will end up getting the Wolves away for Tarzan. So some nice double jungling action. And this is some funny League of Legends. If you had watched League of Legends any time in the past, like, 6 years, it feels like, this would feel like a weird amalgamation.
However, that does slow down a little bit the Rek'Sai. He's going to be ahead, however, because the Breathe has been helping him quite a bit. Now, that gives a lot of solo XP to Photic onto this Kalista, and we do know that after 1 or 2 plates go down, the laners will press reset and go back to the original lanes. However, I don't know if I'm very happy with Weibo for lane swapping right here, because K'Sante is K'Sante. He's fine. Even in a solo lane, he'll be fine. However, for Breathe, I want to see a Jax that actually farms, gets some gold down, doesn't necessarily stick into a jungle trying to help his jungler clear out because he has no other job on the map. It is going to be one tire plating for his troubles right here, 125 gold in the bag. And I feel like everyone will just reset and go back to normal.
And that's where we can talk a little bit about the stylized differences of both these teams with their compositions in this game number 2. Breathe will at some point get to a side lane threat. He will not be able to deal with the Jax. He will be a nuisance. Xiaohu will also be in the same boat. So really right now, Weibo's composition is looking at surviving, using that mid game to press the side lanes and use macro to really pick apart NIP, where NIP have a little bit more of their cards on the table, it feels like, in the way they can fight.
Yeah, also that one item spike is really huge for the sort of Weibo, so they can use that as an advantage to fight around neutral objectives early on. So for example, stacking early dragons will give you so much freedom on the map later on when you want to split push and drop a couple of dragons later on in order to get a lot of pressure on the side lanes with the LeBlanc and with the Jax that you mentioned as well. Whilst NIP, I agree with you, it's everyone in, you know, the Ashe arrow lands, and you'll see Wukong flying in, or Rihanna ball right on top of that. They are looking for the wombo combo. However, if Weibo never group as 5, you'll never be able to get one of these wombo combos, and you will have to mirror the side lane pressure at some point.
So we're seeing a massive level difference. I think we obviously see there is a bit of a difference in how the level 1s went for both these two top laners. We'll see a little bit of a catch-up from Breathe there as he gets pushed under his turret. There is a dragon coming up on the other side of the map with a reset coming out from Rookie. I do not expect there to be very much presence from NIP on that side of the map just yet.
Yeah, as you can see, Aki's also moving back to his own jungle. However, they invaded the top side jungle of Tarzan, put down a lot of vision. Again, making sure you keep contact with that Rek'Sai at all times is going to be of pivotal importance for NIP's early game, specifically because you have that range bot lane, right? The second you lose your flash on that bot side of the map, you lose a lot of that pressure that the double AD carry lanes usually have to offer you. So keeping track of where Tarzan is, and especially when he's on top side of the map, that gives a lot of freedom to Photic and Zhuo to play a little bit more aggressive.
Taking a look at the backs of the bot lane of Weibo. Are they just going to go back to bot lane? It looks like they're going to split for the time being. Maybe signaling. Okay, it looks like they're going to realign going back towards bot side of the map. But a very easy-going game so far. We will see Tarzan ping over towards these grubbies. Should be taking that objective, at least the vision around it first.
Also keeping in mind right here, level 6 for Rookie, level 5 for Xiaohu. Now, of course, Xiaohu has a wave pushing towards him, so he is going to hit that level 6 soon. However, NIP do not want to be going in there. There is pretty good skirmishing potential with the LeBlanc and with the Leona early on. There is a lot of base damage on the kit of Leona as well that you don't want to necessarily be dealing with. So NIP is just going to be sticking to lanes, trying to take towards the bot side of the map. First dragon. Very, very important for NIP. Yeah.
Had the Void Rush. Thought maybe he was going to go for a play with Xiaohu there, but the wave in a weird
Still
state.
can.
They might go for the chain here as well. Does end up getting a bit of a late chain under turret. Gonna use the Void Rush just yet. Gonna move over towards the Dragon Pit now, having moved Rookie out of the lane. The Dragon goes over to Aki, makes it out of the back of the pit. And maybe a skirmish. He does have a level advantage, at least for Tarzan, over Aki. They'll go back to it here. And objective going over the way of NIP.
And again, forfeiting the Void Grabs towards the top side of the map meant that Photic and Zhuo pressed that bot lane wave far out, which allowed Aki the ability to take that dragon. He should be close to level 6 here. Still level 5 for Aki. And that's a level 6 Tarzan taking his red buff. I feel like this is some sort of karma, you know, a little bit of revenge for Tarzan, if you will.
A nice welcome back for Tarzan, having a bit of a rough niddly game at game number 1, but still coming away with the victory, and now getting a ton of support from his team. But I will say that is exactly what I love from Tarzan. The last time we saw him on LNG, he's a very headstrong jungler. He'll make good decisions, but he needs follow-up from his teammates, and that's what I feel like can make him so lethal on this Weibo roster.
And we'll see right here, he has all the tools and he has all the side lane pressure that he needs with the LeBlanc and with the Jax to make those decisions that you did mention. Ooh, get back here.
Good all out there from Shanji, and that's why they call him Shanji, as Aki will claim first blood for NIP.
That was a great hijack through the wall from Shanji. And for a second, I thought Breathe was going to make it out, but the transition from NIP's bot lane meant that he couldn't really get too far away. Now, Tarzan is looking. This is still a level 5 Ashe into a level 6 Rex and a level 7 LeBlanc.
And they
So you
will
definitely don't want to be
force-
overextending.
Yeah, you will force all 3 grubs early over. So the trade of early neutral objectives to both sides. But now Weibo, they're not done yet. They're actually looking over in the jungle as they see the Gromp go down. Crisp waiting here. Aki caught unawares. And that's the level difference there. The Void Rush feeding the hungry Tarzan.
It was Photic and Aki chasing Tarzan inside his own jungle. This time around, it's Tarzan and Crisp hunting Aki in his own jungle. 1 level down, about 10 CS down as well for the NIP jungler. And Tarzan, he's looking pretty strong this game around. This is going to be a very tanky Rek'Sai that you're going to have to deal with. And I don't know if you necessarily have the tools to do that. I mean, Kalista is great and all, but this is going to be more of a poke Kalista, if you will. Ashe doesn't dish out too much damage, and you've got a lot of burst coming through the Orianna, so having that Rek'Sai as your front line is going to be huge for Weibo Gaming.
It will be, and also just the access it gives you if you can tick one of those little non-healthy backliners there with the Prey Seeker and try to get the Void Rush on top of it. Aki's going to go over here to try to contest over this blue buff. Tarzan on his way here. Does have the Tiamat in tow. They have a little bit of strength in the team fighting here as they go, but they'll just give over the blue buff to Aki. NIP will not stop at that as they have pressure on bot side with Photic taking the turret plates here. It is just going to be the trade across map.
Yeah, Weibo Gaming here might choose to reset. I don't think it is wise to dive Ekesante underneath the tower, and it's going to be a base race between the two AD carries. However, NIP are going to give up on the tower. They're taking more control into the jungle. They're looking at Jax. Potentially looking for more kills, taking control of that bulk quadrant of Tarzan's jungle, but I feel like just taking the first tower gold and getting out is going to be huge for them, but they might have lost the fight.
Looks like they will secure that one here as the Zenith Blade actually connects. First turret goes over. Not going to be in range for anything there as the Chains of Corruption did go through as well. Traded right back for another turret, going NIP's way this time around. We have under a minute for a Dragon Trouble, and NIP want to continue stacking that one up.
Yeah, I feel like they felt like depriving Jax of more XP and gold was more worth than potentially getting that first tower for themselves. I mean, this is what this is the only thing I can think about right here. There was no kill to be had towards the bot side. They already had jungle control, so there's no way you're pulling away from the tower unless you just want to pressure Jax more. Now, of course, Breed has fallen behind about 400 gold to the Cassante, and Jax is a very money-hungry champion, but once he does get these items, once he does get that gold, he becomes an absolute menace in team fights and side lanes. However, saying that, you mentioned the dragon coming up in 5 seconds. Shanji on that Cassante already has his first item completed.
That's actually kind of nuts. We're getting first items for majority members, it looks like. As I think the Trinity Force on Aki will be very curious to see how he can dish that damage out in these little fights. We are getting some positioning around the Dragon Pit now. Some still good vision for NIP around that one, though. And I do think this mid lane priority is going to be super important for that. But also the way that they enter these fights, because Aki's looking.
I don't think NIP has any business walking into this river. You do not have an item onto your Orianna. You have to be in a side lane. The wave is pushing. Xiaohu is there. You definitely don't want to be going up against, what's it called now? Ludi's companion?
God.
LeBlanc and all this poke coming in from light. I feel like NIP are racing against the clock right here because the more damage and the more side lane pressure the Weibo have, the more he's going to force NIP's hand in very unfavorable fights.
Be very difficult. NIP just going to force the dragon outright. Tarzan will spot it out, but can't do anything about it. Second dragon goes to NIP. Zhuo will take some piercing arrows to the back, but he'll take that all day as they have their objective stacking going. The mountain dragon soul will be on the rift as Xiaohu starting off his side lane duties.
The walk of shame from Rookie TPing into the fight. And walking all the way back to where he came from as the fight never ended up happening from the sort of Weibo. I feel like Weibo are more than happy here to let go of the first 2 dragons. However, it would have been better for them to have a few, especially since the split pushers, now they're going to be called to actually group and fight, so they don't have to give away any type of soul to NIP and give them away back into this game.
And with a small advantage, they will press that forward, at least to try to get all 6 grubs, which we've seen be pretty strong, as quick as you can take down. That's what won Weibo the game last time around, was how quickly they could take down those structures because of the grubs they had gotten beforehand. Now we'll see them make
you
good.
cannot afford that. You cannot afford to give a split push until...
Yeah.
Oh, they didn't have the time!
Oh, but they got the 4. They got the 4.
Okay,
they
you know
got
what?
the first might spot at least.
Silver lining for NIP, that is not a 5 Void Grubs buff. Especially with Jackson LeBlanc, this would hurt your side lane so much. NIP knew the timers were there, but Aki could get caught in the jungle yet again. All eyes on Chris.
Oh, they actually do catch him out here. He's going to burn his flash, trading places with Tarzan. And he does end up making it out alive. I don't know if Tarzan could say the same, though. Shanji's going to pin him right into the wall and all out him to death. Rookie picks up that one for NIP, and they're right onto the Rift Herald.
A little bit split from the side of Weibo Gaming. Tarzan went a little bit too far into the jungle, looking at Aki. He was 1 level up at that point. You're probably to fight him. Then his bot lane gets attacked in the river. So all in all, a positive trader here for NIP. They're going to take the kill. A very crucial member as well, if I'm not wrong. Rookie got that one on Orianna. You definitely want your Orianna to start piling up a little bit more gold, since Xiaohu has been giving Rookie a pretty hard time in lane. Uh-oh,
And
flashing Photic.
We're getting close to like second items at least here. Yeah, Photic be playing for a little bit of vision play here. Breathe, not going to pull the trigger on him. But I do want to think a little bit about how these build structures are going to go. We got the 2 Luden's companions for the mid lane fight, but we're going that full lethality style we've seen rising in priority in solo play, at least for the Varus, and a lot of strength going that way early on. But the Edge of Night start for it with a cheap kind of utility. Interesting.
Yeah, absolutely love that. There is so much follow-up if that Ash arrow hits. I feel like having that Edge of Night frees a lot of the movement from the Varus. And again, here, I want to point out, while Crisp is getting caught by the bot lane of NIP, you'll see that Xiaohu was a little bit too far into the jungle trying to find Aki and poke him out. Then Xiaohu arrives, but Tarzan is in trouble, and then the bot lane is trying to run away, but then suddenly you have Shanji TPing in, so it was a little bit miscoordinated right here. Aki is getting TP'd on.
He's in a little bit of trouble here. He's going to cyclone his way out, but Weibo have already gotten him. No! He almost gets breathed back. They try to fight on the other side, though. Fate's call pulled by Photic to get Zhuo out of there. Breathe still fighting his way out, but Rookie should be able to clean him up here. Another 300 smackaroos straight to Rookie's pocket.
This is insanity right now. They're fighting with no objectives up on the map. The
Oh
Ash
my
arrow in
God.
the face.
Xiaohu gonna burn his flash there. That's been unfortunate. Good timing with the vision from NIP. They're playing around it so well. Oh, he goes for it. Xiaohu, my goat! He literally picks them apart. They had no idea he was coming back for Zhuo, but he always comes back.
A great pick right there for Xiaohu. And Weibo Rookie is looking, he's hunting for Xiaohu. He wants something back for his
Why
dead
can't
support.
I have a displacement too?
I mean, are you LeBlanc?
Imagine Orianna with displacement.
Okay, I don't want to imagine that actually.
All
that
right,
would be
all
too
right.
OP. You
Too
know
far,
what?
too far.
This is why she doesn't have a displacement.
True. You're not
Can you
wrong.
imagine Shockwave with displacement? This is why she needs champions to do that for her. If she could do it on her own, that would be too OP.
It's like a 2-for-1 special. They played through the vision so well here, and Aki just had no way out.
Yeah, they're pulling the TP onto Aki right there, and he thinks that his Tribush is safe, which is technically running towards his bot lane. But not only does he end up going down, his bot lane gets zoned out of the jungle, and by the time the Rookie arrives, he's a little too far away. Nice double control hold there to spot Xiaohu, but unfortunately they just cannot follow up. And the second Zhuo walks up, he's been seen on that control ward. Xiaohu knows.
Rookie was already running that way too, so Rookie could like see it happening in slow motion, like yo. It still happened though, unfortunately. The dragon does end up going over to NIP though. That'll be their 3rd in a row, so they're on soul point.
Oh, the arrow towards the top side.
Meow.
Just about misses Breathe. He felt the breeze of that arrow
It was a
flying
nice
past.
cool breeze.
Yeah.
It's a giant ice arrow, so you know it's gotta have a nice like drifting breeze through it.
It's like an air conditioning on the move, yeah?
Yeah.
Pretty much. We need that now in Berlin. It's pretty hot. Now, keeping track of what's happening on the map, I'm looking at top lane. That's a huge gap. Shanji, level 12. On that Cassandra, just about level 11 for Breed, with a 2-level gap between the two top laners. And he's not called Shanji for nothing. And even though the champion has been nerfed a couple of times, he was buffed again very recently. So Shanji right here could be the difference maker, because even though Weibo Gaming are very slippery in general as champion, the Blanc, Rek'Sai, Jax, you need somebody to stand in front of your very squishy bot lane and tank whatever's thrown your way from the sort of Weibo Gaming. And Shanji has done this plenty of times through the split.
And that's where that stability of the composition comes to bear for NIP. Like, they are very good in a 5-man because they have a lot of options to peel, a lot of options to engage. Whereas for Weibo, they're still looking at the side lane. They're still looking at utilizing the map to play against NIP. And while we haven't gotten to the moment that their split pushing is incredibly strong, Breathe will get there after he gets a couple more items. So I think there's all that timing that Weibo are wanting to rely on that's going to start coming harder and harder to come by here, because we already have 3 dragons stacked up for NIP.
Yeah.
We have Baron that's going to be on the map. We have a lot of options for them to play through.
And that's the problem for Weibo Gaming. If they had a couple of dragons, it would have been very easy again to drop them later on and keep on pressuring those side lanes and look for replies from the side of NIP. However, right now, NIP are more than happy to invite Weibo in. These big wombo combos that we wanted to see. Weibo need to group for those, and they're doing it right now. They're pulling TPs.
Wait, Zhuo, he's dead. He's gone. Xiaohu actually finds the chain on Aki. Oh, the Zenith blade on top. Look at all that poke. And a double kill for Light, who's taking the spotlight once again. A nice Q from Photic there in the end, though, pushes Weibo's advance back, but they get what they came for, and they got 2 kills because of it.
And that's perfect. More time on the map for Weibo Gaming. Getting those 2 picks sort of frees them on the map. You'll see Xiaohu instantly towards the top side of the map, pushing down that wave. Breathe, shoves in that mid lane, heads towards the bot side of the map. Weibo Gaming are trying to split NIP apart. Xiaohu has found Rookie again.
He's trying to get some plays on a Rookie with Crisp right behind him there, but the damage just not going to be there yet. As we say, they got caught.
Yeah, so bottom right, not very clean right there. Overextending, just an Ashe. Couldn't even flash right there. Very dangerous stuff. Again, when you don't have the bodies to try and put down that pressure in terms of vision control, walk into fog of war, it becomes very difficult when you're that squishy. Just walk in and not get punished. Weibo Gaming on top of their game right here. Anyone overextends from NIP, they're literally punishing them instantly. And even though we're talking about Photic and how he got a lot of free gold earlier on from the bot side of the map, I feel like Light right here on the Varus is kind of outshining him.
We are now almost at 3rd item there for Light on the other side. We'll see if he can actually get to that and use that Spike of Lethality Varus like we saw him use on the Aphelios last time around. But now it is also 2nd items for these mid laners, Xiaohu and Rookie. And I have a lot more to say of the game as we go on, but my goodness, that is the power of having these early
health.
style builds with the first strike. You do so much damage to these squishier members.
And I feel like Weibo have been doing such a great job in splitting apart those little skirmishes and fights for NIP. They're pretty much picking on the first person they see, and then suddenly NIP just scatters around the place. And this is what things like Rek'Sai and the Blanc love to have. Scattered members so they can chase them through. Now, of course, talking about chasing, 30 seconds time, this is going to be soul for NIP. They have pretty good items. 2 items for you, Kalista. You've got 2nd item completed for Rookie's Orianna as well. Now they need to just make sure that the damage sticks, because again, it's so difficult to pin down things like the Jax. You see that Light also has Edge of Night, as you previously mentioned as well. LeBlanc, very, very slippery. So to get this huge wombo combo, they're gonna have to force Weibo's hand through a choke point.
But that's exactly what Weibo brought to the table to answer it. They go for the split pushing. They say, maybe we give over this Mountain Soul, but we get 2 tier 2s because of it.
See if that poke is going to make the difference. But one big pick, that's what makes the difference. As a tier 2 falls to the side lane master in Xiaohu.
The more NIP doubts what they want to do with the map, the more pressure is going to be applied on the side lanes. Both Breathe and Xiaohu have teleports to join the fights whenever they want. Xiaohu through the jungle. He does have the flank. He's going to be spotted right now on a ward, but he has a fantastic position to pinch NIP.
TP coming in from Rookie. He's going to pull the trigger. Now Xiaohu taking a decent amount of damage back. Tarzan trying to get over there, and he doesn't get it. Actually, it is going to be Aki securing the soul for NIP.
Now, this is going to be huge. You need that extra resistance when you're playing against things like the LeBlanc, like the Poke, Varus, NIP are potentially looking to catch Weibo Gaming. But remember, when everyone gets scattered, it's Weibo Gaming that comes up ahead in those exchanges. Xiaohu is going to W through the wall and TP away.
They really wanted to take
That was about 10 seconds too late.
They really wanted to try and get him. Maybe a little bit of decision-making paralysis there for NIP. But Weibo, they don't get the dragon. They at least escape with their lives. They'll have a mountain sold up NIP to deal with now.
I'm not going to lie to you, Mazel. I feel like that first game really shook up NIP. They knew they shouldn't have lost it. They knew they were by far the better team. So now that they're being pulled apart by Weibo Gaming, I feel like you said it. Their decision-making has been completely paralyzed. And Weibo Gaming have a pretty steady control of the map. The side lanes are constantly being pressured, and I do not know how to respond to that. Their strong bot lane never took off in the early game. They do have a soul to show for themselves, but this is still a 4.5 thousand gold lead for Weibo Gaming. Almost a death gap. Almost a 3-item LeBlanc with death gap.
And almost, or over 1,000 gold there, or just about almost 1,000 gold for the first strikes across Weibo's team for Light and Xiaohu. That is third item completed for Xiaohu. That's a Rabadon's, by the way. He will be able to one-shot people now. So we'll see if he can utilize that in the side lanes. But NIP want to continue to force these 5v5s where they are strong.
Perfect. That is perfect. You're forcing Weibo Gaming to walk in through a choke point. I feel like NIP trying to push Weibo Gaming to get through those tight choke points. Oh, the flash from Crisp.
Yeah, didn't have the proc of the aftershock there for him. He's now moving back in here with some poking from Xiaohu. They're going to try to defend this outer tower as NIP is looking for where they can siege, if at all possible. There is the Baron up on the table. You can see they're pinging it here. Maybe they want to try to force Weibo to fight around that.
Yeah, the problem is Cuddle Crab was still up and available for Weibo Gaming, so they had full vision control of what's happening on Baron. Right now, they have lost that. And the second that they see Xiaohu's LeBlanc towards the bot side of the map, they're forcing that mid lane play. Well played from NIP right there. They know they have the numbers advantage. They push down that tower. And now they're going to try to possibly play again towards the objective that you mentioned. Baron is going to be huge for them. And they need to try and avoid those mid lane fights as much as possible. Being in a very wide space versus Weibo, where you're getting flanked constantly by Jax, Rek'Sai, and LeBlanc, is going to be impossible to defend your Ashe and Kalista.
And that's already 4 items for Light. Yes, you can think about the later game and where those items start kind of falling off long term, but you're already 4 items in at 27 minutes. You have so much strength for this lethality Varus, and they need to be able to utilize that to some extent. But isn't it telling that we've had around 30-minute Elder Dragons in both games already of this series where these teams are being decisive, Trouble?
Absolutely. I feel like it's been a win condition, and it has been spotted very early on from NIP. They have been stellar when it comes to taking those neutral objectives that really matter to them, and they knew that Weibo probably wanted dragons. So they made sure to snatch them away from them and create a win condition for themselves, which they very much needed after such a very slow progression early game for NIP. Now, Rookie is going to press it towards the top side of the map. The more that they control towards the top side of the map, the more the Baron will be probable to be taken down, and you could force Weibo's hand towards very tight choke points, such as these ramps next to mid lane.
You see NIP moving up towards top side. We see the replay happening with the Enchanted Crystal Arrow dodged out by Crisp's clean sidestep. want to see NIP kind of continue to use this. We did get second item for Breathe with that Navori Flicker Blade there completed for the Jax. Still waiting to have those big 3-item power spikes here. But NIP know they need to continue pressing and finding the weak points of Weibo.
Yeah, because in a minute's time, there's going to be the question, do you go for Elder or do you go for Baron? Baron right now is the answer for NIP. What they really want is to try and pull the trigger for Weibo Gaming for a team fight.
Yeah, they just want to try to get the TPs out. They want to try to pull some resources away from Weibo. They did get a little bit of their attention. They did not get the TP out from Breed. So some TP still available on either side there for the plays. But I think the other little microcosm in all of this is that Light went the Serpent's Fang against the Mountain Soul. So a little bit of strength there against some of the shielding that will be provided as Xiaohu dodges out of an Enchanted Crystal Arrow out of Zhuo.
I actually wanted to mention that I'm absolutely loving Light's build and also the order in which he bought the items. When he got ahead, he built Edge of Night first, which means that if Zhuo was to hit an arrow on him, it no longer is feasible. It's no longer going to be an easy target for Zhuo's Ash to hit the arrow on. And then when the Mountain Soul came in, Serpent's Fang came out from Light. Shields also on Orianna get impacted by this too. So I'm absolutely loving the order in which Light has been purchasing all these items for it to make sense throughout this game. Now, here comes the dilemma that we talked about. There's a Baron on the map, there's an Elder, and NIP want to fight. They want Weibo to funnel into them, especially with those item breakpoints that NIP just accumulated for themselves. So let's see. He's going to be the Elder Dragon Trigger.
And Weibo are like, guys, are you sure you want to start that? Like, we don't have to fight this just yet. Tarzan going to be circling around the other side. There's the TP call. Weibo, no, they have to be here. Xiaohu already out. Rookie gets the outplay, and Rookie with the solo bolo of the mid laner of Weibo. Now the Elder Dragon looks like a done deal for NIP as Shanji ults Crisp out of the fight. Tarzan around the corner here. Can Tarzan get a miracle steal? Shanji doesn't have a lot of health. They're not going to be able to do this unless Tarzan can get in. Tarzan doesn't get it. Aki is just better as the Elder Dragon for NIP should signal the lead holistically in their hands, even if not in gold.
Rookie. He's been getting bullied this entire game by Xiaohu and getting that solo kill, not allowing the LeBlanc to have that flank to ruin everything for NIP was so pivotal for his team. Grabbing that Elder Dragon means that there's going to be absolutely no contest into getting the Baron, and suddenly all the side lane pressure, all the side lane power that Weibo Gaming are holding in their hands is going to be dissipated for at least a couple of minutes to come whilst that Baron buff is active on NIP.
Rookie with the big moves. The campaign to get him to international still right and well. He's
getting himself to international,
picks
Mazel.
out Xiaohu here.
I mean, also, that's a little bit sassy.
Yeah, it's
from
a bit
Xiaohu
sus,
as well.
yeah.
It's a little bit sus because you have been seen, of course, in the mid lane wave, and you are face checking into a brush that has not been cleared. Crisp was very close to getting there and putting a ward down, but it wasn't necessarily the case yet, so you never know who could be hiding in this brush. Unfortunately for Xiaohu, it was Rookie who kind of one-shot him. That great stuff from the NIP mid lane. I think he just breathed some life back into this game for NIP.
I like what you did there. He's also got his own hat that he made out of sticks here. That makes him very strong. The Baron buff absolutely tearing these turrets down. That'll be the mid-outer tier 2 down, at least. Try to look at the inhibs here in mid lane, maybe biting off a little bit more, but they have a tier 2 that Shanji's working on. Enchanted Crystal Arrow will split the uprights there. The Cannon Minion actually doing some work, and this should enable them to take this inhib turret.
Honestly, that's great stuff from NIP right here. They don't need to stall with the Baron and the Elder. They're just using the power of the Elder to straight up brute force and pressure waves into Weibo Gaming's base. Taking 2 inhibitors here would be absolutely incredible in terms of slowing down Weibo's pressure on side lanes, because there will be super minions that have to be dealt with.
They have cut the lead down. We are completely even now, where NIP was down so far. Oh, Xiaohu, he's completely out of it there. He just gets executed by the Elder Dragon. And NIP might just be able to push this into a win now that Weibo have lost their first member of the fight. It looks like they want to do so. It looks like we're on the verge, Trouble, of going back-to-back 3-game series here for our first night of LPL summer. They gotta fight their way out. Maybe we've seen a deja vu like this before, but NIP says no, we will not fall to our mistakes from game number 1. We will rise above them and we will bring it to a 3-game series.
NIP finally with an inclusive decision. You either kill enemy team and then the Nexus, or you just focus the Nexus. This time around, it was kill them first, just in case, and then take the Nexus down. And again, this was NIP on the verge of defeat. This was an NIP that got that victory out of Rookie's play onto Xiaohu's LeBlanc right there. They would be kicking themselves if they lost the series 0-2 because they would have been 2-0 up right now. But I'm just so happy that these two teams are delivering and we're getting a 3rd game.
I'm so excited that we get all 6 games for our first night. We're going to send it to a short break. We'll be back for game number 3.